the basics of CSS. Talking about styles, selectors, combinators, color, width, box model, priority, positions, z-index, and display, flex, and grid. So first, let's talk about the 3 ways to incorporate CSS into your document. Here is externally. You put it in the head of your HTML document, link, relation style sheet, href, and the name for the href is the same name for the document that you make. Styles.css. Very important that your folder has the .css at the end of it. That'll make an actual CSS file. Save it, boom, all my styles have been applied. Inline, which in the same line as your HTML code, style, color, red. There you go, now it is red. Then there's internal, where in the head elements, you do the style tag, and you could do same thing, same semantics as your CSS page, but in here, let's do h1, color, blue, wait no, let's do a gray. There we go. Okay. Here is the selector that I use. This color is called the property, and the gray here is the value. Now, it didn't actually change the gray because there is priority for CSS based on where you put it in the document. So HTML documents work top down, so it will read stuff top, keep going down, keep going down. Oh, what the heck? I do. Nope, keep going down, keep going down. And the thing it reads latest is what's going to be updated. So, because inline is further down in the document, it's what is most recently read. So this will be the style that gets applied. My link sheet is read first. This style comes after it, then this style. If I get rid of this style here, boom, it turns to gray. Because, let me just show you in here. I also have this style for H1, calling it blue, but the gray comes after it, so it does the gray instead. If I put my style tag above it, it will turn blue. But externally, with the link is how you always want to do it. That's what most people do. There are 3 main selectors to use. A name are also called the tag, a class selector, and an ID selector. Whatever tag you have, use this class attribute and give it a name. Same thing for ID attribute, then give it a name. To access that, for classes, you start it with a period, dot, and then class name. Whatever you give it, this will apply the style to it. For IDs, hashtag, ID name. Again, whatever you call it, same thing. It'll be applied to only the ID. The difference with IDs and classes is that you could have the same class name applied to multiple elements, but IDs can only be applied to one element. You can't repeat them or else it'll break your code. Talk a little bit about combinators. This is a bit of an advanced subject, so I'm only gonna tell you a little bit about what they are. Combinators are ways to use multiple selectors for a style. So this is the most simple one, the space. So E space span. There's a plus, a caret, and a little squiggly, or it's called. These 3 are a bit advanced to do. If you want to learn one off the bat, use the simple one, the space. Oh, here is a pretty typical style a selector that you should use. It's an asterisk, which selects everything in the document. So here, color. The most simple one you could do is the name. So color blue. Color has a lot of predefined names of colors in here, like all these you could do. It's kind of whatever, like that. Boop. Again, this color comes after this, so it's selected more, that's priority. This though, this hashtag is called hexadecimal, and typically it is 6 digits. The first 2 digits are your red value, next 2 are your green, the third 2 are your blue. F just means everything, so if I do 00 and then FF, this will turn green, because I have 0 red, all green, 0 blue. Let's change it to all red. And you could change these numbers however you want, like 32, 98, boom, it'll give you a random number. Or you could click this. It also includes, well, let me give you one. It includes letters, other letters in it too. Hexadecimal is if you want specific colors. You could also do it 3 digits, just a simple way of doing it, but pretty standard for specifics. There's RGBA, which is essentially the same thing as hexadecimal. Your red value, green, blue value, and then the last one is your alpha. So I think of this as opacity. So if I give it a 1, it's all of it. 0.1 is going to be very light and muted. Now there is HLSA. This is the modern way of doing colors, what more people are switching to. Hue, saturation, light, and alpha. Same alpha as up here. So 0.5 will get lighter. Saturation and light are percentages, and hue is a number. This is for very specific colors, just like RGBA. Width and height. Again, this div class I applied to every div that I have here, except for this wrapper div. So for all 5 of these divs, I give them the width of max content. So it'll wrap around the entire content there. That's why this one is longer and these are shorter. Height auto. Auto's kind of standard, automatically applies whatever it thinks it is. But you could change these. There is min content is pixels, 100 pixels. Kind of messes up because it doesn't give me enough. 300 pixels, like that. But that is a very, let's say, fixed way of changing it. What you should be doing is using responsive values. So values that change when you change the size of the screen. 30 VH. VH stands for viewport height. So if I change to 100, it's gonna be a lot. It takes the entire height of the screen. Same thing with width. 30 viewport width, just like that. 100 will take up the whole width. Okay, there's also percents that you could use. Let's do that for this H3. I'll give it a border of 5 pixels, solid green. So that is the width and height of it so far. Let's give this a width of 25%. There you go, 25% of the screen. 50%. Boom, half of the screen. Just like that. Let's get rid of that. The ones you should be looking out for are the viewport height, viewport width, percents, and EM. But box model. I will put up a graphic of the box model right here. Content, padding, border, margin. So the content inside of this div is all of this, the text I put in there. And I want to expand the inside space of the border. So I will use padding. Padding 10 pixels. Boom. Let's make that a little bigger. 50 pixels. Yep, more padding inside of the border. If I do margin 50 pixels, that is padding outside of the border. The margin in between the border and the next element. You could get into specifics with this with padding left, bottom, top, right. If you do padding just like this, it'll apply to all four corners. Or you could do 0, 0, 0, 0, or 50. If you give 4 values like this, it'll go top, right, bottom, left. So your top value, second is your right, bottom, left. So if I give a 50 pixel here, more to the top. And again, you could do the same thing with like 1.5 EM like that. Same thing. You should generally be using these values. I'm using pixel values because I'm not making a responsive website right now. But if you want responsive websites, which all of you should do, use EM, percent, and viewport width and height. And now on to positions. There are 5 positions. Static. This is the default position. Fixed. As you can see, it gets fixed onto what you're looking at on your screen. Doesn't matter if you scroll up or down, it is in that position. Another thing with all these positions, static is the only one that cannot use it. Everything else can use a thing called top, bottom, left, and right. 50 pixels. Oop. This is a way of specifically telling your element where to go. So it is 50 pixels from the top. Or let's do 50%. 50% from the top. Okay, position absolute. Div 3. Boom. The thing about position absolute is it does not matter about any other elements like padding or margin like that. It will get fixed onto the screen wherever you tell it to go. So try that here. Top 0. It'll go to the top of the page above other elements. That's the good thing about position absolute. It'll go above other elements. Position relative is just like static, except it could also use the top bottom things. So 30 pixels. The difference from absolute is it's on wherever you tell it to go on the screen. Relative is relative to where it was initially. So 0 pixels is where it usually was. 30 pixels, it won't go to the top of the screen. It'll go 30 pixels down from where it usually is. Just like that. Position sticky, the last one. It is the weirdest one, say. Okay, first, won't do anything until I give it its top, bottom, left, or right, one of them. Do 40 pixels again. Okay, let me show you what happens. Fine, nothing happens. I scroll down, then it gets stuck to it. Oh. So what happens is when you give something a position sticky, it will become fixed at first, but then when you scroll past it, it will apply this top, left, bottom, right, whatever you give it to it, to the element, and it will stick to it when you're scrolling until you scroll past its element. Then it'll stick back and then go back into place. This is mainly for nav bars, but it could be used for other advanced things. Okay, now the Z index. So pretty standard, you know, the X, Y, Z graph. Z is a third dimension. If you have positions, or if you have divs stacked on top of each other like absolute, you could give a Z index to one of them, and the one with the higher Z index will be on top, the other one. We get into display. There's display flex and display grid. And I'm going to talk more about flex because I use it more. Grid's a bit weird, but flex is what most people use. So, div 2. Display flex. Nothing has changed right now. Here are some things you can apply when it has flex. Flex direction. Column. Boom, it is in a column now. Row. It is in a row, that's its default. But what display flex does is it organizes things inside of its container. So this div2, let me go back to it here. Oh, is this div2 class, and I have 2 span elements. So if I add another one, there, it will also organize it like that. So I mentioned this at the beginning, I have a div class that wraps around all of these. All of these are inside of one class. I have it here, div container. Let me make that more visible for you. Border 2 pixels, solid, gray. There you go. That's the whole border for it, this little line right there. Now, when I display flex, it will organize all of these 5 in here. Oop. There we go. I could switch that to column. There we go. Looks pretty similar to what it was before, but row is its default. There's that. Now we have align items. You could do center, so they're all in the center, and you also have justify content center. Justify content center. Boop, they're all in the center right there. Content space around. They're all evenly distributed with the breaks in the middle being the same. Space between. They only space them out evenly in the middle of them. And space evenly. They're all the same. Again, very useful for URLs. You could also change, let's get rid of that. Also change the gap. Gap, nope. 20 pixels, the gap in between each of them. That is display flex. Again, it's a bit more complicated than that, but that is basic. And there's also display grid. Okay, where display flex aligns things in one plane, the x-axis or y-axis, display grid aligns in a 2D one. So you have grid template columns and grid template rows. I do not use grid too much. I kind of should learn about it. But if you want to learn about it, then do it on your own, mess with it. Display flex is the one to know. You really want to. But yeah, that is just some of the basics for CSS. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.